Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups, relationships, limited beliefs. I'm here for you. Let's get into it. 7 mistakes when dating a new woman. This is actually a really good topic because it's specific. It's something that you actually deal with after a breakup because every woman's new to you. But we talk about dating, there's pickup artists, there's how to attract women. But really, when you start dating someone, this is when you're gathering intel. You're gathering, is this person someone I want to be with long term? If that's your fix, is this someone that I respect? Is this someone that I could really see myself dating or seeing girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife long term? And a lot of times people don't realize it, but they're just being opportunist. So they meet someone that's attractive, the person's interested, or they're interested in them, and then they just start dating. And attraction kind of carries the weight. And that's okay for a month, 2 months, 3 months. But then later on, when you have problems, or eventually when you have a bad breakup, right? Which is certainly possible. You start to think to yourself, what happened here? And a lot of times, um, it started in the beginning when you first started dating this person, but you overlooked it because you were attracted to them, or you just wanted to get into bed with them, or you just were desperate to not be alone and get into a relationship. So let's get into it right now. 7, pull it up right now. 7 mistakes to avoid when seeing a new woman. Please mention in the chat if you have some that you want to divulge. Smokey the Cat, how you doing? Any questions, comments, put them in the chat, and I will get to them at the end of going through these 7, actually 10. I'm going to give you some bonus ones. So, to avoid when seeing a new woman, don't call or text too much. This seems like this is information that you should already know, but if you don't know, now you know, right? It's needy and unattractive. Anything needy is going to transfer over to being unattracted to women, okay? Don't try to make her your girlfriend too soon. It screams desperation. Now, there's certain women out there that like you to call them a lot. It's a small percentage. They're going to be needy individuals also, but they're actually going to be less attracted to you. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but just don't call or text too much. And someone might go, well, what's too much? I'm going to leave that for you to navigate, but I would say that if you're calling 3-4 times a week and you've only had one date, that's too much. But really, if you want to book a live coaching session and talk about this, we can do that. But just don't call or text too much, okay? Make dates to talk then. Calling, texting. Once you start to get a little bit more into the relationship, okay. Number 2, accept her cancellation or change of plans with an okay. What do I mean by that? Don't make a big deal out of it. And never seek pity. Oh, you don't want to see me? Self-deprecating behavior where you make up some reason to get pity. She says, oh, I can't see you Friday night. Something came up at work. Okay. All right, well, maybe we can see each other the next day. A nice neutral response actually leaves her guessing, which is a good thing. It shows that it's not that you don't care. You're okay with it. Now, if someone cancels plans or changes plans repeatedly, that's a pattern, that's a playbook, that's a problem. That's just someone you don't want to continue to date. That's someone that really doesn't want to see you very often. If someone does that in the beginning and has a legitimate reason, such as a busy job or busy schedule, your response should be, okay. And you could throw in, yeah, maybe we can get together Friday or get back to me when you can. Don't get into this big like, oh, well, I really wanted to see you tonight and I can't believe that you're not available, or I don't believe you. Don't get into all these things. Just go, okay, well, let's meet up next week or let's meet up in a few days. Be okay with it. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't make a big deal out of it. Like I said, this is a new woman you're dating. You're learning her. She has a busy schedule. And by the way, when you start dating, sometimes something can come up. It's not personal. Okay. Number 3, be aware of how you feel after your date or interactions with her. Okay. This is actually something that you probably won't see a lot of coaches recommending, but stay with me on this. If there are negative feelings there, so you get done with the date and you feel like something's not right here. I don't feel good. I feel insecure. I feel like she was taking shots at me. Now, that could be you and your own issues, but it also could be something that you guys don't line up, right? I had years back, I dated this woman, and I remember that some of the comments that she would make, I know she liked me. I know she was into me because the intimacy was really good, because she wanted to go on dates with me. She wanted to see me. But sometimes some of the things that she would say, um, like, you can't wear that shirt. It's ugly. It's like, what? It's one thing to say, I don't like your shirt. It's another thing to say it's ugly. It's another thing, like, I could be okay. I'm okay with that. But do I want to hang out with someone like that regularly? And that was just one comment. There would just be these critical comments that she just thought she was being brutally honest. But on the flip side, to me, I was like, what? My point is, when you get out of that date, if you're feeling like, can't believe she said that, or I didn't really like that reaction to that, how do you feel afterwards? Don't go out with someone that afterwards you don't feel good about. Ask yourself, am I just putting up with this because I find her attractive? Am I just putting up with this because I don't think I can find someone else? So when you get done, a good date or seeing someone new, you should just want to see them again. You should be feeling good about them. You should be excited to see them again. You should think like, this is a good girl. This is a good girlfriend material. Number 4, don't let her impose her values and morals onto you, please. It's better to have an opinion than to be a yes man or avoid topics you don't agree on. This will only lead to you being a doormat or unattractive to her. So notice how I said that there's 2 different things here. There's some women that like being in relationships with doormats. They like a guy that's a pushover. Now, how much attraction they have for that, I don't know, but they like to be in a relationship with a guy like that because they can control the narrative. If you don't like being in that situation, there's some guys unknowingly, they don't mind being a doormat. Their dad was like that. They've been in relationships like that before, and they just think that's how relationships go. And so what she says is the rules, okay? If you don't like to be in that, don't accept it. Don't avoid topics just to be nice. Don't be passive aggressive. If something comes up and you got an opinion on it, talk about it, okay? You can agree to disagree. But if you're biting your tongue when you're out with her, or you're saying like, wow, we really don't line up on politics. I'm not into politics very much at all. I have an opinion on things, right? But I'm not going to get deep and passionate on it. Now, if someone says something that I just find heinous, out of line, or completely, really, I'm going to speak my mind and give my opinion. Now, here's the thing. A woman that's going to treat you like an equal, a woman that respects a strong man, a woman that you want to be with, will actually find it attractive that you're at least standing up for what you believe in. Like I said, the flip side of that, if you're going to act that way and be accepting to everything she says and does, and basically limp your way out of into the relationship, right? then basically you're going to take into her morals and values and you're going to become a doormat. And that happens in the beginning of the relationship. This is when you first start seeing the person. Number 5, don't overlook if she's rude or disrespectful to a waiter at dinner. Don't overlook if she hates her job and friends. Don't overlook that. Please don't overlook that. Okay? You're next. How someone does one thing is how they do everything. It's not 100% true. It's about 80% true. If she's rude and disrespectful to the waiter at dinner, if she hates her job and her friends, where does that leave you? You're special. You're going to be someone that she treats like an angel. You're next. She's going to find problems with you. Okay? Number 6, don't overlook if she hates her parents or whoever her guardians were, specifically her dad, because that's going to be something that is going to trigger her in the relationship. It's going to create problems between the two of you. And it's just not to be overlooked. And I don't like the generalization of daddy issues because that doesn't really get to the problem. If someone specifically says, my dad left my mom at 12 when I was 12 years old, and I just hate him and we never talk. Okay. That's something that you need to monitor going further in the relationship, because if you cancel a date or you show any kind of lack of attention, this can trigger her. Okay. And if you're one of those people that are really highly independent, do your own thing, do you want to be in a relationship like this? The problem is someone might accept it in the beginning and they might, oh, I'm sorry for the reason why this is important, how you start is how it will prevail throughout the relationship. Okay. So number 7, this is a big one. Don't overlook her generalizations on men and dating. This is huge. Don't overlook if she describes her past relationships as horrible. Those narratives will play out again. My ex was horrible. My ex was this. Doesn't mean you don't have to date her, but don't overlook it. Okay? The generalizations one, this is huge. This comes up a lot. All men cheat, generalization. All men are selfish. All men are this. Any kind of generalization that comes up, get your ears up, because she's going to make that true. All men just use women. Eventually in your relationship, she's going to find a way to say that you used her, because you're men, right? You're a man. You're part of that narrative. You're part of that generalization. So be very aware of that. Do not overlook it. Now, this one might sound simple. These are my 3 bonus ones. Don't overlook a negative attitude. Unless you have a negative attitude, then you guys might be negative buddies. And people, sometimes people can be 50-50, they can be 60-40, and they can change. But if I'm talking about like an 80-20 negativity, where you're like, damn, everything's negative. In those particular, like, you can't create a positive narrative on anything. And even when you say, for example, let's just say you said, oh, I got a raise at work, a couple bucks an hour. And they're like, a couple bucks an hour? That's it? They can't find anything. They can't find anything to get positive about. So when you're in that relationship, if the individual's highly attractive and you want to get intimate, you might overlook this. This is why I'm saying the mistakes are overlooking it, because when you get into a longer relationship, you're going to think, well, she's hot, or I'm attracted to her, or she's got nice such and such, nice that. And you're focused on that. You're laser focused on that. But then when you look back at the relationship a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, you're like, wow, she was negative from the get-go. And I was just thinking about one thing. I often say, people say the way to a man's heart is his stomach, as in a good cook. The way to a man's head is what? Think about that for a moment. Number 9, if she has money problems to start the relationship, she's in debt, she has no job, be sure to dig a little deeper on why that is. Okay? Don't just go, oh, yeah, you don't have a job. Oh, yeah, no problem. And then in your mind, you're like, she's hot. I want to hook up. Don't overlook that. Does she have a plan to work her way out of it, or does she just want to be taken care of? Now, I've talked about this a couple days ago about the financial things. If it's your pleasure to take care of a woman and you have a lot of money, go ahead and do it. Just be aware of it. Don't overlook this. In the beginning, like I said, a lot of guys got laser focus on one thing. She's hot. I want to hook up. So I'll overlook these things. Bad move. You're going to get into a long-term relationship and you're going to go, oh, yeah, that's right. When we started dating, she didn't have a job. Oh, that's right. When we started dating, she said she's 20 grand in debt. Okay. Her problems are going to become your problems the longer you have a relationship. Now, the flip side of this, individuals in money trouble, depending on how bad it is, are extremely desperate and sometimes highly manipulative in lieu of that. So they can create stories and different situations where you start to feel guilty by not giving them money. Okay, so just they have money problems in the beginning. Don't complain later on. If you're someone that doesn't have a lot of extra money to take care of them, this relationship's not going to work. If you're someone that doesn't like to take care of a woman financially, likes it to be more equal or at least 60, 40, 70, 30, then don't get started in this. Number 10, this is the grand finale. Does she really, and this is one that, listen to me when I said it. Does she really line up with what you're looking for? Or are you just settling because you're attracted to her or you don't have confidence you can meet someone of higher value? This is huge. Most of the time, I would say a lot of times, you're settling. You met her, you're attracted to her, you're connected, but she doesn't really line up with what you really want. And if you're really looking for a girlfriend, a wife, a long-term partner, it should line up. If you're looking just to hook up, this isn't going to matter as much. But I would add, some of these things where you're like, oh, I just want to hook up with her. If you're not aware of these things in the beginning as mistakes for dealing with dating a new woman, you can get entangled in a highly manipulative relationship where you're being asked for money or you're settling for someone that you're not connected with, where you have bad conversations with, just in the name of intimacy. Okay, just in the name of I don't want to be alone. And then later on, you complain about their things that you don't like. Be aware of them in the beginning. All right, let me get into the chat real quick. Smokey the Cat. By the way, I had to change my username, but you'll probably remember me as Grand Ave. Says hello. Right on Grand Ave. I used to actually live on Grand Avenue in San Diego and Pacific Beach, my first apartment. Dude, thank you so much, Coach Mac, for helping me, man. Dude, when will I know I'm 100% recovered from my past relationship? Really want to move on. Stop asking. Stop making it a narrative in your head. Even though I don't know when I'm going to stop thinking about this. Stop trying to get to let me put it like this. So right now, you're better than you were. Right, Miguel? You're better. You had a bad breakup. You had ground zero. You've been 2 months, 3 months. You're better than you were the first week, the second week, but you've had setbacks, correct? So this is a gradual process. But the idea that you keep trying to want to get to 0 to 100, this is a gradual process when you're not drinking alcohol or going around hooking up with anyone. You're gradually getting better. It's kind of like if you sprained your ankle playing basketball and you told me, when's it going to get better? When's it going to get better? And I was like, you probably got to stay off it for about 4 weeks to really heal it. And in some cases, it could be 2 weeks. In some cases, it could be 6 weeks. But it's going to take time. That being said, stop wanting to get to the place where you feel so happy and so perfect and appreciate that you've made progress from where we're at from the beginning. Does that make sense? So instead of saying like, when am I going to feel fully better? When am I going to say to myself, damn, I'm getting better and better every day. I feel better than I felt yesterday. Right? Be your own coach. Smokey the Cat says the waiter one is so true. If they're impatient or just rude with a waiter, it says so much about their character. It does. And the reason I mention a waiter is because a lot of times dates are dinner, right? So if you're going to dinner and you notice that, or they just complain about the food over and over again. I remember I had a date where she kept bringing up like my ex-boyfriend used to tell me I didn't finish my food. It's like, okay. Is it okay if I order this? And it was the most expensive thing on the menu. And it's like, yeah, go ahead. right? So like when there's these awkward situations like that, be aware. Be aware. Take in those things. Don't overlook them just like, oh, she's beautiful. It's okay, right? Because the next time you go on a date, she's going to bring up those things again, like, oh, can I order the most expensive thing? Oh, is it all right with you? Because I don't always finish my food. To me, the combination of this is one of those ones that bugs me. You order an expensive item. I'm paying for dinner, let's just say, and you only eat half of it and you don't even want to take it home. That's a bit of a red flag because you don't value food or money and you don't value me paying for it. I've actually had that when I was dating at like, I think I was like 19. It's like 18 or 19. It was a long, long time ago. I'll never forget that. And the girl was cute. We worked together. She liked me. She actually initiated the date. And we went out to Fridays, I remember, if that's still around. And for me, I was making, this is how old I am. I was making like $6 an hour or $7 an hour, right? So part-time, I was in college and I was working a part-time job. And we go out to dinner at this place where it's a date, right? She orders this fettuccine Alfredo, I remember. She ate about 2 bites, right? And then was like, no, I don't want to take it home. And I just remember being like, excuse me? Like, I didn't say it to her, but afterwards, that really bothered me. It really bothered me because it was like, you're just going to waste all that food? This is like a nice place, and you only had 2 bites? It's like I didn't want her to mow down all the food, but the fact that you didn't even want to take it home, and I make $6 an hour at the time, right? So value to value. Now, here's the thing. Smokey the Cat says, yeah, order it. We're going 50-50 anyways. I personally, on a date, would say that women that I've ended up being in long-term relationships with have initiated that. Like they won't literally say, let's go 50-50, but the bill comes and they want to pay 50. Now, this is to me why I really like that. I don't expect it because everyone has their own morals and values, okay? I don't expect it. It's like I wouldn't demand it, all right? But I certainly wouldn't take someone on the first, and we got to talk about, is this first date, second date, third date, fourth date, right? But the first date, the discovery mission, if they take you to some expensive place, order something expensive, expect you to pay. That's a bit of a red flag. Okay, especially in the online dating world right now, because a lot of clients of mine are telling me there's women out there that are actually hunting out free dinners and extravagant places just on dating apps. I've heard of this happening, right? So it's kind of a sign of the times where I don't think it was as big of a problem when I was younger, because dating apps, what dating apps did is you're meeting a lot of people you don't know and you're going out on a date. The old school way is you work somewhere, a friend of a friend, even if it was a cold approach, say in a mall, you went up to a girl you were attracted to and started a conversation, you still saw that person in person. You saw how they acted. You saw how they vibed. So you had way more of a gist of who they were. Whereas when you get in a dating app, like you literally can go meet the person and go, excuse me, you don't look like your picture. All right, I think you've been doing some Photoshop, hun. So, and you don't know anything about their morals and values and their character. So it's a completely blind date. Okay. In those particular cases, I would say that 50-50 might be right. Now, definitely don't go to an expensive place. Now, guys that have money will want to show you they have money. Now, what I'm going with this 50-50 thing when you order food, what it does for a woman is says, you're not just going to just buy me a meal and then we're good. In other words, I have some self-respect. I want to keep my independence, and I don't want to create an unwanted expectation that now that you paid for my food, that I like you or that we're going to do something later on. So I feel like the women that usually do the 50-50 thing generally have a little bit more self-respect, or at least offer to pay the 50-50. But it's personal for you. And like I said, it's moment to moment. You might be at a place in your life where you make really good money and you're like, no problem, hon, I got it. And you know she has a job where she doesn't make a lot. It's one thing for someone to have money problems. It's another thing that someone like works at a job where they don't make a lot of money, but it's highly fulfilling, like a preschool teacher. I've talked about this yesterday, or someone that works at a charity. That's admirable. That's attractive. And you make 100 grand a year. That could be understandable. So you could feel that out during the date. You don't just have to have a rule where you're like, I don't like rules. Oh, I always go 50-50. It's like there can be some special circumstances. It's just a red flag when they don't even offer and they've ordered. The big red flag is like ordering appetizers and expensive food drinks. I haven't had that happen too many times. All right, for sure. I personally, if they don't at least act like they're reaching for their purse and make an attempt to pay, then I usually get an idea of how that's going to go. Right on, Smokey the Cat. Thanks for your take, bro. I appreciate it. All right, so put it in the comments below of what's your take on some mistakes to avoid when seeing a new woman, or vice versa, when seeing a new man. All right, I do have a story on deck today. This is an individual I actually did a coaching session with. He said, hey, Mac, why don't you just go ahead and share my story? So I'm 25 and from Germany. Recently, I found myself in quite a messy situation with this girl I was dating for around 11 months. The first 7, I was not really interested in something too serious with her or any woman, mostly due to my PUA background. And she was more into me than I was into her at an arm's length, which led her to even having some mental issues due to my sometimes distant behavior. Okay, so I didn't get into much to the mental issues, but the PUA background suggests that he has a little bit of background in the how attraction works, how to pick up a woman, how to push and pull, right? And so I've never been a pickup artist. I think that in your 20s, this guy's 25, it's not a bad place to be for a little while, for a couple years, if you're single and wanting to mingle. It's not a completely negative thing. It does have a shelf life for a lot of guys. It's not something that a lot of guys want to do forever. There's an expiration date on it. But at the same time, it definitely helps learning attraction. And that's a positive thing, learning how that works. And so right there, he understands that to keep some distance. A lot of the pickup artists will say, or not a lot, but the ones that I've talked to that have a background in that, eventually it gets old and eventually they do want to settle down, right? Then after having numerous discussions about how our relationship status, all initiated by her, which is a good move, Attraction 101, where she wanted to be more loving and caring, I changed my approach in the past few months and was more affectionate. At first, she reciprocated a lot, and I felt we were almost together. We were never officially together, though, and basically had an open relationship, and she told me several times she is committed to me. However, after 2 weeks of not, I mean, here's the thing, though. She's committed to you, but you're not official. Right? This is where being a pickup artist for the last couple of years and being in a lot of in and out of relationships is conflicting with, I want her as my girlfriend, because it kind of attacks your identity as a pickup artist, right? It attacks the subculture of that group. Now you really have some feelings for this woman and you want to make it official, but at the same time, you're leaving the door open. You're not being as direct. However, after 2 weeks of not seeing each other, we were both away. She was different and started talking about possibly ending it with me ahead of a 4-week trip to Spain. I have to admit, I was too needy and clingy during these 2 weeks and did almost 100% of the text initiating. Okay. Realizing that you're needy and clingy is a good thing. And a lot of guys will go, oh, I really messed up here. As long as you don't make it a month, 2 months, 3 months, and just never stop. If you catch yourself, you can readjust the ship. Okay. She talked about breaking up on 2 dates in a row. We see each other usually once a week. Interestingly, even though she was mentioning breaking up, seeing other people and regaining her freedom, she was still quite loving and caring with me in person, initiating sex, intimacy, massages, the shower without even asking, touching me constantly and wanting to stay longer. Bottom line is she's highly attracted to you. So that's a big plus. You're both in your 20s. If she didn't have attraction to you, that's fine. I think mentally, what's lost here, she doesn't trust being in a monogamous relationship. I'm not sure if it's just that she doesn't trust you, which is possible based on how your relationship started openly. But she also doesn't trust herself. Okay. That she can commit. After she threatened the breakup, I reacted as you teach, maintained emotional self-control, and realized I pursued a little too much and backed off. Excellent. Excellent move. Textbook. Even though I still reached out to her once, after the second attempt of her breaking up, she came back and everything seemed normal again. On the next 2 days, she never mentioned breaking up with me again. Even further, I felt her interest was growing. She was chasing me again, and the last weekend before her trip, we basically spent the entire weekend together, which she insisted on. So right now, you're taking her on a little roller coaster ride. You're up and down. You're pulling away attention, and then you're giving attention. Okay. The thing about this is, this is great for attraction. This is great for intimacy. This is great for those things specifically. Eventually, at some point, when does she want to turn this into official, and you want to turn it into official? However, the same weekend, completely unexpectedly, as I was texting a friend of hers back with her phone due to her already sleeping because she got too drunk. So he kind of elaborated on the situation that they had went out to a club and her friend was going home and she wanted to make sure her friend got home okay. So she told him, please text my friend and make sure she's okay. So she gave him her phone with access to the phone. I noticed that she also started seeing another guy while she wanted to break up. So the way he saw this is when she gave him her phone and she was asleep and he checked in with her friend, he noticed on one of her apps that she was talking to this other guy. So he wasn't looking for it, but he found it. I noticed that she also started seeing another guy. She wanted to break up with me. I noticed that she also started seeing another guy while she wanted to break up with me, which definitely destroyed some trust I had in her. Well, it should destroy some trust. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This isn't even just smoke. It's hard evidence. This is the thing about text messages. It's hard evidence. It's there. It's not debatable. It's 2 + 2 is 4. Okay. She wanted to break up around the time she was talking to someone else. It's deceitful. It's manipulative. It's a lie. Okay. Now, here's the interesting move. I never confronted her about it, though, as we are not exclusive. So he knew we're not exclusive, so I don't have a right to call her out on this. He put it in his back pocket. Okay. Now, he could have easily called her out on this. He could have said, oh my God, I found this in your phone. This is why you wanted to break up with me. If he did that, which technically he had a right to do, he would eliminate them getting back together. He would eliminate the fact that they aren't official right now. So he made a judgment call right here. At the end of the weekend, she said she wants to keep in touch with me during her trip, and she did. She did basically 100% of the contact, initiating, sometimes reaching out to me multiple times a day. So she missed you. She missed you, which is a good thing. She was telling her friends over there that she is dating me, and on our phone call, she was talking about going on holidays together. A few days before she came back, she called me and wanted me to pick her up from the airport, which I did. When I met her there, she was very loving, and we kissed passionately for a few minutes. So this trip, this 4-week trip where she called you a lot, she missed you. She's attracted to you. She's into you. Later on, we went back to her place. She even started talking about how cute of a couple we would be. However, when she was away for a few seconds, I had her phone in my hand because she was showing me something on there. I got curious again and went through her notes. Bottom line is, because of what you known, you don't trust her. So that's why you checked her phone. It was because of that prior thing. And this is the problem when trust gets broken. It's hard to regain. The fact that you didn't say anything to her before, it's probably the best move to keep the relationship going. On the side note to that, you've never addressed it with her directly. I don't think it would go over well, but this is the part of it. It doesn't sound like she would be accountable for it. Before I could even see really anything, she came back and busted me and kind of freaked out. Even though we still spent the night and next morning together, she was more distant, told me my previous action had an impact, but she was still affectionate and touching me and flirting with me. Well, you checked her phone and she doesn't know exactly why. However, we did not have intimacy that night. She was too tired. He writes, yeah, right. Well, it's possible. But why is you? The interesting thing is, it's one thing that you checked her phone. People don't like their privacy of invaded. Why is she so pissed about it? She's probably got something to hide. I mean, I don't think it's a good thing that you're going through her phone. But at the same time, to be that upset about it says something. Because right there, the dialogue could have opened up. What do you want to know? That being said, this is what happens when you're in a gray area relationship where your relationship's open, but you kind of want to be together, right? After I left, I did not contact her for a week, and neither did she. I reached out after a week and arranged a date last Thursday. She took long to respond, but still suggested to come over to my place after her late shift. Last Thursday, she came over to my place, and quickly after arriving, she basically told me she wants to break up with me. See, this is almost confusing to me that you guys are together or you're not together. And this is a big thing. You've had 2 or 3 times throughout the course of your relationship where you've gotten to a point where you really are into each other and can make it official, and then she immediately finds a reason to break up. So even if you were together, if you got back together, this is probably going to be the narrative in the playbook. Something's uncomfortable for her. She doesn't like something. Like the fact that you checked her phone and she got really upset about that. And then now I don't want to be with you after telling you after getting back from Spain, yeah, we'd make a cute couple. She's up and down. She's all around. She's impulsive. And this will be the narrative throughout the relationship, even if you get back together. So these are situations where someone says, oh, I just want them back. It's okay. But when you get them back, if this was the kind of behavior and playbook they run, the minute you have another situation that they don't like, and you will be tempted to check her phone again if you get back together because of what you saw before. Because if you ever do become official for 5 months, 6 months, that little situation will come up where you checked her phone. She told me she wants to see other people, but feels guilty if she is still seeing me. Well, if that's the case, thank you for being transparent and honest is what I would say. But also told me that she wanted somewhat committed to me but also told me that she was somewhat committed to me while she was in Spain. What does somewhat mean? You're either committed or you're not. As I mentioned this once a couple months ago, she also told me she does not feel as at one point I kind of pressured her to be exclusive. What is, pressured her, or this is what you want? Bottom line is she doesn't want to be exclusive. She wants to be free, but she wants to see you when she does. And this is what happens with a lot of relationships in their 20s. People want to spread their wings, okay? Which all happened during these 2 weeks in early April when she wanted to break up with me the first time around. I then told her I do not want to be exclusive with her, and my goal with her is to spend, I used other words, to spend quality times, hook up, and everything else will or won't happen from there, and I won't stick around as a friend, but she could call me if she misses me. So you just put her in your frame, okay? She responded that she already knows that she will miss it not having me in her life, which I found a bit confusing, and asked her if she's really sure about her decision. She has hesitated a bit. Yes, she's not sure. She hasn't been sure about anything in this relationship. Okay. And it's just where she's at. That's not personal. That's not because you didn't put on the right moves. That's just who she is and where she's at. She's talking to other guys. She's taking trips to Spain. She's doing her own thing. She wants her independence, but she really is into you. It's up and down and all around. Okay. This is timing and circumstance. It's not you making a bad move. It's kind of like if you look back at your life long enough, I'm 41 years old. Okay. I look back at a girlfriend I had that was really good. And I think to myself, wow, if me and her would have met now, maybe the relationship would be different because of my wisdom and what I want out of a relationship. Timing is big. Okay. Right now, she wants freedom, her cake and eat it too. She's into you, but she doesn't want to commit. You, on the other hand, are interested. You're kind of serious about her, but you also are okay with being free. The breakup talk ended there and we switched topics. During the entire conversation, I was indifferent and very relaxed. Excellent. Outstanding. I love those words. Indifferent and very relaxed. Shortly after, we showered together and had amazing intimacy. She was into it, was giving me all kinds of sort of intimate acts without asking, and she was complimenting and touching me constantly and spend the night over. Bottom line is, this is outstanding. Because you were indifferent, you were able to handle this breakup indifferent and relaxed. You didn't make a big deal out of it. You didn't seek pity. You didn't make a blame blanket. You weren't emotional about it. This created a high level of attraction. And the time that you're away from her now, this will just carry out. This is, the last time you guys were together. She also started a conversation about old dates we went together and how much fun we had. And some of them, even though she sometimes referred to it as past tense. Furthermore, she could remember content I was posting on social media from weeks ago, so she was kind of stalking me there. The next morning, everything seemed normal. She was still showing signs of interest. She also kept her toothbrush at my place after brushing her teeth that morning and did not take it with her. That could have just been something she forgot. When saying goodbye, she kissed me 3 times and left with a smile. Great close. You couldn't have ended this any better. I know that you're confused and you're like, well, why didn't she jump into my arms? This is great. As I'm kind of stalking her socials, don't do that. I found out that she has a one-night stand last night. Me personally, I mean, you don't know this for sure, right? This is from social media, so don't put too much weight on that. Me personally, I'm quite busy with my studies, but I struggle to fully focus on it and do the issues I'm having with her. I actually, like I said, this was a live coaching client. We actually did EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, and we cleared this out for the moment. So the EFT, if you want to look it up, great practice, great way to help yourself get neutral when you're overthinking about something such as, what is my ex thinking about? I also have a date schedule with another girl next week, and I will start seeing other women. Outstanding. So he asked, Coach, what do you think about the situation? I think I just told you that. She obviously still cares, but wants to get me out of her life to sleep with other guys and get her freedom back. I don't know if it's that simple. See, this is where you're being a little bit, she wants to get me out of her life. I think she wants you to be a part of her life. She just wants her cake and eat it too. And a lot of guys would be this way. So it sounds kind of masculine in the sense that she wants to see other guys. There's probably a reason for that. She's, in her early 20s. She wants to spread her wings for a little bit. Let it be. This isn't because she doesn't like you or want to be with you. She probably has a lot of interest from outside guys, and it's better than her cheating on you. Okay. I won't contact her again, but do you think, Max, she will be back or not? I think there's a strong possibility she'll be back because you had outstanding intimacy. She has a high level of attraction. Whether she comes back all in or not is a different situation. I think it would be similar as before, where you'll have a good week together or a good 3 weeks, and the minute you do something like check her phone or get too sweet, she'll probably push you away. She'll do what she did before, but there's a strong possibility of getting back and hooking up. Yeah, absolutely. If you have outstanding intimacy the last time you were together, women like sex just as much as men. I'm kind of confused as her words and actions did not really align. I think she's confused. So I don't think this is personal. I really like the girl. We really started to have a great chemistry over the last few months, which she even admitted last Thursday. If she can't see that, you're not going to talk her into that. Okay. I personally would be surprised if she would just disappear out of my life or even more than a couple weeks or so. Don't put a couple weeks on it. Just date, do your thing, be you, use the EFT when you're off. And don't think like if she doesn't contact me in a couple weeks, we're done. It's not like that. Could be a week, could be 2 weeks, but she's going to contact you. I believe she has some commitment issues, which comes from a previous trauma. So right there, you've identified it's not you, it's her life experiences. You're not going to fix that. She's got to figure that out on her own. She was 1 year in the States for a language exchange, but her host family treated her like crap, basically locked her up. Her family did not really anything get her out, and she stayed there for an entire year. So this is something for her to seek therapy on or talk to a coach or a therapist on her own if that's the issue. And that might take time. That's one of those things. Someone can call you up, and this is going to scare you a little bit. Someone can call you up 3 months, 6 months down the road and go, oh my God, I saw a therapist, or I got my shit together. I've changed. And I just want to let you know you were so good to me, and I want to restart things. That would be ideal. Am I going to guarantee that's going to happen? No, but that would be more of an ideal situation than her coming back 3 weeks later, being the same person, up, down, all around, highly impulsive. You're happy for a week, but then you're going like, what happened here? It's not you. It's the way she does things. It's her playbook. I was talking to another dating and relationship coach to kind of confirm my feelings about the breakup. He told me that it was a fake breakup where she essentially is testing me to see if I started chasing or got emotional. There might be some truth there. She's definitely ran this before. If it is a fake breakup, I don't think she's labeled it that or even knows she's doing that. I don't think that's premeditated. But you handled it outstandingly. My main thing is, even if she comes back, I don't think her behavior will change. So you'll be back for 2 weeks together, have great intimacy, or 4 weeks, or this or that, off on, maybe 2 months, 3 months, until she gets in line with wanting to be in a monogamous, serious relationship. And you do too, where you guys are both honest and vulnerable with each other about that. The same thing's going to play out, even if you got back together. So I left some notes for this individual, and he had a couple comments. Let me just check the live stream real quick. So we got 3 on deck still. All right. He said, I agree. But on the other hand, I do believe Corey Wayne's argument that women will blow off everyone and everything for the right guy, even if it initially do not want to be exclusive. So my behavior definitely played a role in her wanting her freedom back, even though her timing in her life is important too. And remember, she was committed to me earlier, and probably while she was in Spain too. Probably means I don't know. She said she was somewhat committed in Spain. That doesn't mean 100%. That's not a boyfriend girlfriend. So just be honest about that. And probably while she was in Spain too, even I did not tell her to be. So Corey Wayne, got a lot of respect for that guy. It's a generalization argument that women, so all women will blow off everyone and everything for the right guy, even if they initially do not want to be exclusive. I think the caveat to that, the exception to that, is timing and circumstance. So let's just say a woman really wants to be with a guy, but she has a family member that is terminally ill. Will she blow that off? Let's say that a woman really meets a guy that she's really into, and she has a previous trauma, which you mentioned, that she hasn't gotten over, that's creating a roadblock for her to be honest with her feelings with someone she really wants to be with. So this particular statement from Corey Wayne, I think it's got some truth to it, but it's not true of all women. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is what happens with generalizations. They scale really well, like for the masses on YouTube, but really until you get the information about your story, like what you said right here, she's had a previous trauma where she didn't have a lot of freedom. She's mentioned that she probably should get therapy for that. So would that affect her going all in on a relationship with the right guy? Yes. Would that create a gatekeeper that would stop her from blowing off everyone and everything to be in a relationship with you? Yes. Yes. Did your behavior before play a role in her wanting her freedom back? Yes. But the end, when you guys got back together and things were pretty good, these are things, if she really wanted to be with you or wanted to be in a relationship, that she would want to work through rather than just disregard. What she basically told you is she wants to date still. She wants to see other people and not feel guilty. That's the essence of the problem. And I don't think that's personal. She could go out and date for the next 3 or 4 months and then find out, wow, you are so much better than those other guys. So just leave it alone right now. I'm definitely not going to reach out. You did believe she will contact me eventually, right? I'm not going to guarantee that, but I think there's a high probability. Yes. I mean, she's still highly attracted to me. Yes. I basically handled the breakup perfectly by telling her I don't want commitment or overall being indifferent. I mean, if there could be any better case, outstanding intimacy, you were relaxed, you were calm, great approach. Leave it alone. I will keep dating other women, but I'd still like some kind of guidelines, even if I have to get my hopes up of seeing her again. This is the hardest part about leaving it alone, going into no contact, is you feel like you're not doing anything. You're actually doing the hardest thing. So the hardest thing is to let it go. The hardest thing is to date other women. It's like, it sounds like, oh yeah, that's all you got for me. It's not all I got for you, because what I did for you is I processed your breakup. I gave you more reasons to realize you didn't do such a bad thing, right? But right now, when you say some more guidelines, because this is what happens when there's a situation, and not all situations call for no contact. Okay, not all situations are like that. This particular one, clear cut. Clear cut. You left it on a great note. You accepted the breakup. Do not contact her. Leave it alone. There's a good chance she'll call you back. Now, down the road, if you want to contact her and you feel like when you contact her that you could take it or leave it, what do I mean by that? It's like, if you're going to break no contact, you got to be in a frame where if she says, nah, I'm not really in the mood, it's not going to gut you. It's not going to hurt your feelings because you have other options. You feel like this isn't the only fish in the sea. You don't feel like you're searching for water in the desert. Why do I use that analogy? Because if someone's not dating again or feel like they can get another person to date them again or be in another relationship, they will treat that call for that date 3 weeks later like water in the desert, extreme desperation, extreme sadness if they're rejected. You don't want to be in that state. So keep dating, use your PUA skills, and also at the same time know that, reassure yourself, I did everything right. And if that's not enough, that's okay. You got me? All right. So, Smokey the Cat says, never agree with them on something you actually don't agree or think alike. Absolutely. Don't agree just to agree. Like I said, I mentioned this in the thing before. When you start that narrative, there's two choices there. The woman wants a doormat, which some women want, or the woman will just be completely unattracted that you are a doormat. Miguel Coronado says, no contact making me warrior. Finally, I want to just move on. I don't even think I want her back. Excellent. Smokey the Cat, seems like the guy was more in a mentality of a relationship than her. Either he's good being casual and living a life as single people, or what they want. The guy will never feel fully comfortable. Well, sometimes you have to accept, I think when you get good at picking up women, this is what comes up a lot, actually. This is a good way to put it. Guys that are really good with women have had a lot of success or have money, status, good looking, whether that's in their eyes or in other people's eyes. We'll just call it looks confidence. They have a lot of trouble when they're in a breakup or when they're in the situation, because they had so many people reassure them that they are great, that they're the one. So they think to themselves, Why would you ever break up with me? I've had all these options. I've been with 20 women this last year. I've been with 10. I'm giving you my attention. I'm actually interested in you, and you turn me down. It messes with you mentally. But the reality is, if you're that good with women, prove it, because there's a lot of fish in the sea, as cliche as that sounds, right? There's a lot more women out there, and if you get back out there and date again, it's going to take a little while. But if you take this one personal and you go, "Oh, this one was special, though. I really liked her." Um, Again, it could be more than just she blew you off or doesn't want to be with you. It could just be timing and circumstances in her life, and that's okay. Being okay with that is where you want to be. You don't want to be ultra happy. You don't need to win her back. You need to get to a point where you're like, it's all right. Then you can date other people. And then when she comes back, you can be in a neutral place, which I think you are. And that's attractive. All right. I hope that helps you out there. Spin those plates, says Smokey the Cat. Yes, sir. We got 5 on deck, 2 likes. I do appreciate it. Eve, how are you? I'll be in contact soon. Miguel, thanks for rolling. Smokey the Cat, thanks for making a nice appearance. Um, and everyone, take care. It's curtains.